Hello, citizens. This is Councillor Gian-Carlo, Ward 9 TV Light. Obviously, the big thing in the news right now is our tax crisis. Now, you will recall that I've shot some very long videos explaining where we are, and I want to, as briefly as possible, tell you where we got to and how we're moving forward, obviously, because this is in the news. Now, what Council decided to do was basically over the next 3 years, reduce slightly the non-residential business tax rate and then hold it even, and slowly over the next 3 years ramp up what we're charging residents. And at the end of this 3-year cycle, what we're going to get to is that 50% of the property tax bill every year will be paid by 15,000 non-residential property tax rolls, and 50% of the yearly property tax roll or bill will be paid by 500,000 residential tax rolls. Is that the right number? We don't know, but that's what we're moving to. Now, we also set aside savings because, contrary to a lot of the narratives you hear, we have been driving the cost of government down since the downturn, and we've used the downturn to do that, and we found a lot of savings. We've been taking those savings and we've either been building things that we need and keeping our economy going, or we've been setting up funds that we've been putting into one-time savings year over year to protect the businesses that are suffering from the distillation of responsibility out of the downtown core as the downtown's lost value. We had set aside about $70.9 million over the next 2 years to soften the blow on the non-residential side. And the non-residential side is getting beaten up, and we know it. And now that everyone's opened up their tax bills, they know it too. And that's what's causing the outrage, and that's what's causing all of the concern. Now, the reason why the tax bills went out before we figured out how to spend this $70.9 million is because we just couldn't reach the right conclusion as council. And that's because this is complicated, and you need to get 15 people who all have different points of views on the same page, and that's hard. And unfortunately, we were unable to get to a place where we had a majority agreeing, and the tax bills went out, and when the tax bills went out, that brought us all to the table. And so what you heard is last week, 14 members of council signed on to an emergency notice of motion that talks about what we're going to do to smooth the spikiness that some of our businesses are experiencing based on where they are and what's happening in the real estate around them. And it's a really messy situation, and my heart is right there with all of my amazing businesses in the community of Inglewood, which seems to be experiencing the perfect storm of a perfect storm. So what are we going to do? The first thing we're going to do is we're going to take that $70.9 million and we're going to basically cut checks to smooth out. We're going to distribute that across the entire tax base that's seeing huge increases proportional to the increase. We're also recognizing that that's not going to get us back to where we were last year. We're going to request that administration find another $60 million of savings in 2019 and every year moving forward. So that's further driving the cost of government down. And the only thing I want to note there is that that's not going to come without pain. We are going to start to see real, actual service impacts from that kind of savings. The other thing you have to understand is that when council saves $60 million of funding, it's not like we've cut taxes by $60 million. We've cut taxes by a lot more. What I'm trying to say is, for every dollar we collect, 40 cents goes up to the province. And so our dollar of savings is being made 60 cents on the dollar. So it's actual extra savings. And so what we're doing is we've formally requested of the province, and they've said, go pound sand. We're going to continue to request of them that they partner with us and they match the $60 million of savings out of their 40 cents on the dollar. We're going to commit to apply this, which sort of all amasses to $190.9 million in savings exclusively to the non-residential tax, property tax accounts on a basis proportional to their increase. So that's basically what is before council. We have a strategic meeting of council on June 10th, and it starts at 9:30 in the morning. The mayor is calling a special meeting at 8 a.m. that morning, and hopefully we can pass it in that hour and a half and get those checks out the door. The intention is to make sure that no one pays any tax until those checks are released. And to the residential property taxes that are seeing increases, yeah, you're going to see an increase commensurate to that over the next 3 years as we get to slightly more parity between what residents pay for the amazing services they receive from the city and what businesses are subsidizing everyone else for. And the question that we have to have, and the conversation we have to have is a 50-50, 50 amongst 15,000 tax rolls and 50 amongst 500,000 tax rolls. Is that the right balance, or do we have to strike a different balance? But we will be talking about that and other structural reforms in the years ahead, because this solution that I've just told you 14 members of council are bringing forward to an emergency meeting of council solves this year. It does not solve year after year, and we're going to have to dig in on that. And there will be more videos on that in the future. Thanks so much. Talk to you soon. Councilor Carras signing off.